I believe we are live now. So again, welcome to our 2012 TraCS user meeting. So I can make sure this is working. Hey, start right off with thanking everybody for everybody's participation in this. Obviously, this is a very large project, been going on for a very long time, and nobody can do it by themselves. So our partners through government, the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee, first and foremost, Department of Motor Vehicles, Office of Court Administration, Department of Transportation, DCGS, and all of our law enforcement friends and family, the Sheriff's Association, Chiefs of Police Association, and my bosses at the State Police. So our agenda for the next 2 days, let's say, sorry for a little bit of a delay getting started. There was a group in here before us, as you know, and we did hotel staff did a pretty good job at turning this over quick for us. So opening this up today, got the whole thing for the next 2 days is going to be TraCS 10, where we're at, where we're going. You're going to see a lot of it. And I'm not going to talk too much about it right now because that's pretty much what everybody's going to be talking about. So give you some stuff on TraCS National, the future of TraCS, and then you all have a copy of our agenda to see, that it's going to be pretty busy and packed for the rest of today.
I don't know if you can minimize that sidebar, but it's kind of screen off here.
I think it's as, if I put it down here, maybe?
Especially scroll over to the left, it might help out. Bring your mouse over to the left side of the screen.
Cool. Better? All right. All right, moving on. And this thing is moving very slowly, kind of like me. Awesome. The thumb drives that you were handed out when you registered today, just to tell you, it is an 8 gig thumb drive, so plenty of space for your files to be added to it when we move forward towards TraCS 10. See, it's all logoed up for TraCS. Guaranteed to increase your productivity by 50%. Thanks, Mike. Guaranteed. Mike's guaranteed. He did that slide. This is what's on it. The new patch that really has not been released yet is on there. All of the slideshows, or most of the slideshows that we had available to us, we got a few presenters who haven't given them to us yet, but everything that we have for TraCS 10 especially is on there, so you will have all of these slideshows. The newest TraCS 10 help file, pre-release version, but it is really content full of everything and anything in TraCS 10. It will be the onboard help file when you're running TraCS 10, your F1 help. So it's got everything in it. The GTSC provided 2011 ITSMR stats, the 2 maps on the back, if you haven't seen them yet, for the nice visual of it. We do have some books also with everybody's broken out for actual numbers to see if your agency is in the green, yellow, or red on where you would need some assistance, or the agencies even probably more specific than the ones that are sitting here in front of me. Some local agencies in your counties that maybe need some assistance that we can help you and reach out to and get everybody to green. So those spreadsheets are on there. The newest TraCS agency map, some new form samples. We added 2 new forms. We're going to be going over those throughout the day. And then some incident location tool instructions for the current version and for the new version. There is a new ILT for the new version of TraCS. Some real quick implementation statistics. We're up to 427 agencies deployed. It's really good. 474 signed up, ready to use, or getting ready to use. So that's the gap that we're always trying to fill. This thing's on auto. That's not good. 59 of the 62 counties now. So New York City is still they're creating their own program. 2012, sorry, that should be 2011, ticket issued. We did break 2 million again, and 79, almost 80,000 crash reports. So we're still moving forward pretty good on that. On the national model, we did add a state this year. We added Illinois to the national model. They are in the process of coming up and running now, so it's just a real quick snapshot of across the country. Just as a reminder, we're not the only ones doing this. I got to start speaking faster. This thing's just moving. The one Canadian province, Manitoba, still on board and using. The National Steering Committee meeting this year was in, where'd we go, Mike? Milwaukee? Is that it? No. Oh, Albuquerque. It's different every time and get confused here. National Model Executive Board is new. We did start an executive board within the committee to help the committee go in more positive directions and that kind of stuff. And I'm proud to say that New York does have a seat on that executive committee. So hopefully we can have a little more say on what can be done to help everybody out nationally. Reminder, the national TraCS assessment is $45,000 a year. The ILT is $17,000 a year. And that's all paid by us through the grant from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee. So passing that on to you at no cost, of course. We will be hosting the next national meeting, the 2012-2 meeting. I say Buffalo as a general area. We're actually going to be in Amherst this year. So that's an honor every once in a while that we get to put in for and host all the states coming on. So the future of TraCS, where do we go from here? This is the stuff we're going to be talking about throughout the next couple of days. Of course, the TraCS 10 rollout is forthcoming, I'll use. Our biggest thing right now in our final testing of TraCS 10 to make sure that it's ready and stable for you is now how are we going to train? How are we going to train those 400-plus agencies in the new version? For the current TraCS users, what are they going to need to move over to TraCS 10? And then for new agencies and for new TraCS users, what do you need to go right into TraCS 10, having never seen TraCS before? Spider, the State Police Integrated Data Exchange Router, the TDM replacement is out. It's running. All of the state agencies are on Spider currently. The New York State Police is transmitting all of our tickets exclusively through Spider now. So what we are currently working on is that installation package so that we can give it to you so that it can be installed and used in your agency. Right now the installation process is cumbersome. We're trying to make it a lot easier. So we will continue our forms development. And of course, why we're always here is more input from you on where we should go. We have, I think most of you probably know, but we do have, some new staff that has come on. Everybody knows Mike, Pat Chauvin in the back, and Deb over in the corner here. We also have John Sonetta standing up in the back there. He's brought on as a TraCS forms developer so that we can have a resource outside of the state police resources to start working on those forms that you want. Not necessarily, what we want as the state police, but and he's responsible for the 2 new forms that we've added. And then, as always, Matt and Carol over in the back corner here on our development team, critical to keeping TraCS up and running. And that's it that I have. I would like to invite the Assistant Commissioner from Governor's Traffic Safety Committee, Chuck DeWeese, up. He's got a few words for us, and sir?
Yeah. I feel like Jim has to invite me every year just because we
pay for it.
We fund it and pay for it.
I'm just going to leave this.
When Mariano Rivera comes in from the bullpen, they play the Sandman. They feel like the money man when the GTSC walks into the room, right? Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for the invitation to be here. Yesterday, May 15th, was our grant deadline. For those who don't know what the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee is, we get about anywhere in the ballpark of $20 to $30 million a year from the federal government, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, to give grants out to localities. And not to bore you, but we have different pots of money. The 410 pot, we can fund alcohol. We got the 408 pot, which funds traffic records improvements, which a lot of the track stuff has gone to. A 402 pot, which is basically the general grants. A lot of your police departments apply for selective traffic enforcement grants or Buckle Up New York grants. So our funding, we used to grant out about $32 million a year. Last year was about $20 million, and this year could be in the ballpark of like 14 or 15 million. Until Congress decides to pass a surface transportation reauthorization, which they haven't had since 2009, we've been working on extensions. We have no clue where we stand with money. But I say that because for the past, I don't know how many years, Jim, we've been funding TraCS, 8 or 10 years. GTSC, we started off giving about $2 million a year to the state police to run this unit, and we've gone from 0 agencies on TraCS to what you had up there, 427 agencies that are transmitting. So I haven't added up the total figure that GTSC has granted out for this program, but it clearly has been a ton of money. And over the past 3 or 4 years, we've been looking, I've had the staff kind of look at and say, okay, of the agencies out there in New York, who did we give a boatload of money to, and why are they transmitting at 4%? You know, there's a lot of money we spent. So we started this thing. I used to work for the federal DOT. We had like a red, yellow, and green thing, and it worked well with crashes with commercial motor vehicles. So those maps back there are a way to embarrass. No, I didn't say that. It's a way to let you know where you stand as an agency, and if you need help going back to your departments to say, hey, the whole state's pretty much green and we're red still. What's going on? And it's kind of, we're using it for our staff to say, when you're out in the field and you go to do a monitoring of a bunny grant and an agency is yellow or red, ask them, why are they red? Why are they yellow? What can we do to help improve the transmissions? We had a traffic records assessment about a month and a half ago in Albany. It's required in order to get our $1.2 million of 408 money every year. And I will tell you that New York is like a leader when it comes to traffic records. You know, there are many states that don't even know what TraCS is, or electronic ticketing. They're still doing paper ticketing. So we're like the top echelon in the country when it comes to this stuff. And we have some of the lowest fatal crash rates for alcohol and other areas, and it's because of this. We just did a podcast this past year with DOT and the police agencies to let law enforcement know the importance of filling out the 104, the 104S, and doing it properly, and how engineers use that data, how we use that data. So instead of just saying vehicle 1 hit vehicle 2, the importance of putting some more information on it. So I say all that to say that TraCS, we've spent a ton of money on it, but I think it's been well worth it. So new on the maps this year is also the color blue. You'll see like a dark blue, a medium color blue, and a light blue. Same thing as red, yellow, and green, but it's for agencies who have just come on in the past year. So we didn't want to give a red designation to an agency who signed up 2 weeks ago and are only transmitting at 4%, so it's a different color, so we don't embarrass that agency. So that's what the different color codes are. I think you said you put them on the thumb drive, so people have them. And also there's a box over there. So during the break, I think I have 25 copies. The Institute for Traffic Safety Management, who did this for us, have all the agencies listed out, whether you're a TraCS agency or not, and the percent that you transmit via paper and electronically for both tickets and crashes, so you can see where you stand. So I urge you to go back and share that with the departments. I also quickly want to thank you. I don't think anybody here is getting paid extra to do this TraCS stuff in their regions. And without your assistance throughout the state, we wouldn't be where we are today. So thank you very much. And last but not least, I have the pleasure every year of giving out the TraCS Coordinator Award. And this year's award is going to the Livingston County Sheriff's Office. And is Quentin Taylor here? He is. Come on up. Get the And I'll just read the award here. It says, starting in September of 2004, the Livingston County Sheriff's Office was an early adopter of the TraCS technology. As the 7th of the current 427 agencies, the Information Technology Group has a great influence on the success of any implementation, and as evidence, Livingston County has all 8 agencies in the county running TraCS. Although the county has a small number of departments, their numbers are impressive. most or all of those tickets have electronic transmission rates of 93% and above for both tickets and crash reports, which is really a great feat. At the Livingston County Sheriff's Office, Quentin has completed the setup and installation of the TraCS software for all the agencies, as well as a large involvement in the hardware. Quentin was of great help in the early days of TraCS in troubleshooting both installation and transmission issues before the availability of remote login tools. What is equally impressive is that Quentin and the Sheriff's Office has moved the TraCS program ahead with a low level of grant monies. We appreciate that. With a countywide total of 99.8% electronic crash report submission and 91.4% electronic ticket submission. So we are proud to present this year's TraCS Coordinator Award to Quentin Taylor of the Livingston County Sheriff's Office. One more. You want to get an official picture? Great. Thank you.
Before you go, another whole token of our appreciation. Any support? Thank you.
So I'll just conclude by saying, you know, we're really not funding TraCS anymore out of that 408 pot of money because it's a competitive pot, and we're working to on a project to merge the current AIS system that DMV runs with crashes with the SIM system that runs at DOT. You know, when I first started, I was trying to figure out why do we have two different databases of crash systems in the state of New York, and I'm still not sure why. But we're trying to merge those systems to save money and to make a better system. So we're spending, $1.2 million, although it sounds like a lot of money, goes pretty quick when you're working in the IT world. So we now have to try to fund TraCS out of the $9 million we get for 402. And to put it in perspective, we get about $40 million worth of requests every year for 402 money, and we have $9 million to give out. So, and what did we get? You guys got a little over $1 million last year. So we still think it's a very important program. We're going to continue to try to keep funding it. I always tell Jim that we're going to try to keep it on life support until the new reauthorization comes. We're not going to be buying a ton of equipment, but let's keep hiring the people that we need to hire to go out and, I call it the geek squad, that travels around the state to try to make sure everybody's getting up and running the TraCS. So anybody have any questions about TraCS or what we do or GTSC in general? I can't tell you if your grant's been approved yet because they just got submitted, but if not, thank you very much for having me be here today. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you for doing your part to keeping us on schedule, sir. We're now ahead of schedule, which is always good. The next presenter from the Office of Court Administration is John Steele. And while he's coming up, the Assistant Commissioner mentioned the podcast. We also have a box of the CDs of all the podcasts that were done for those crash records. We'll put it out on the break also. Please come up and grab one of those CDs. John?
Hello. Welcome from the Office of Court Administration. No. Unfortunately, Tina couldn't make it today. She was up, I think, in Lake George to another conference. In the past year, we've got over 2 million traffic tickets from all of these agencies, and we want to say thank you for all your hard work. Out of those 2 million tickets, at least 90% of them have been downloaded by our courts successfully, with the vast majority not downloading yet are in Nassau and Suffolk District Court, which hopefully by the end of the year, they will be utilizing that ticket data. I've brought with me today a list of courts which are not downloading tickets, or at least if they are downloading tickets, they're not telling us they are, so they get them each and every time. Perhaps if it's in your municipality and they want to be downloading tickets, feel free to call either Tina or I, and we'll walk them through how to do it. Because if they're not downloading tickets, they're probably not reporting them electronically to DMV, and it's in all of our interest to get this information. In the past couple months, we've worked with the state police to implement Spider and the new communications. I have to say to the state police, thank you, because it's working seamlessly. We've had one bug one bug which we quickly fixed, and I think as it rolls out to all the locals, it's going to work quite well for you. Once they get the instructions ironed out, it should be a seamless transition for you. The other thing which I've had the opportunity to see is TraCS 10, and I think you're really going to be happy with that product as well, with the forms and we look forward to new things that we can do to get in information to help you to report back. I know one of the projects once TraCS 10 comes in is sending dispositions back to you guys. I know there's been talk with DMV and state police of a layout for all of that information, because I know every year some of you have asked, can we get the dispositions on these tickets? And yes, that's something that will hopefully be coming shortly after TraCS 10. I guess I can't stress enough how appreciative we are to all of you when we hear from the courts, hey, we're missing a ticket, we didn't get it, what happened, that cooperation between all of our agencies, to help resolve those problems. And for that, we want to say thank you. I also want to ask, is there anything we can do, from the courts to help you and your agencies, to plan ahead? Because without this cooperation, there's, it's, this is what made TraCS all these years so successful. So if there is, let us know, and we'll try to work with our courts to help you.
Before you go anywhere.
Yes, sir.
As John mentioned, if you have courts in your area that are not downloading and want to download, I'm going to throw it out there a little bit farther. If you have courts in your area that are not downloading and are still resisting downloading.
Well, you mean they're still asking for the paper copy.
Right. There's a difference between a small court, not having internet connection and not having a computer, because we still have some like that. We know we do. That might be a little different. Maybe we got to look at other avenues on how to get them up and going. But for the courts that they have internet, they have a computer, I know that we have some out there. They are downloading, and they are still requesting that you deliver paper copies all the time. We want to know about those, because then we can be a little proactive in reaching out, and maybe it's as much as just an instruction to them on, you can do this. You don't need that paper copy anymore, and we can.
Some of them, it's a comfort level. I mean, as we approach this, years ago, most courts, once they see they're getting that hard copy electronically, they don't want more paper. We've got courts out there that are entirely paperless, and we can work with those courts and see if we can convince them that you don't need to deliver it. Twist their arm a little bit. So.
And that just makes, your jobs easier, because I'm sure if anybody out there is printing paper copies and delivering them, you don't want to do that. You've seen the benefits of TraCS. You know what it can be doing electronically, and you don't want to do that. And that's where we got to work together.
And especially when the court's seeing the benefit of that electronic download.
They're seeing the benefits, you're not.
Right. And that's part of the partnership that we all have to forge together. So, does anybody have any questions? Once again, I keep you on schedule.
We are flying ahead
and I'll have, I'm going to leave you a copy of the list of courts not downloading, and I'll have some out for other people to look at the break. Thank you all.
I know we're getting way ahead of schedule, which is fine. If you'll notice up in the corner here, we've got a few laptops set up, and on the agenda we have time for some TraCS 10 hands-on. We have it today at the end of the day, first thing tomorrow morning, while breakfast is going on, and then because everybody loves staying late at the end of tomorrow. They're still going to be set up here. So feel free, take your turns, get up there. TraCS 10 is running on all those computers. Play with it. We'll be around for questions, that kind of stuff. So whatever time we have, and I know, Pat is going to fly through his next position too. So, our next presenter, Pat Chauvin, is going to go over what's in that newest release for you that's on the thumb drive. We got till 2 o'clock. We don't have break.
2 o'clock, huh? I don't think I have enough material.
Song and dance. We're off that. Play.
Where is it? Where's the .6? Presentation.
Who set the laptop up?
Put the folder he gave me. All right. Where's it?
this tool will be available for you. So far, if you go back to the main screen for the crash reporting, like Pat showed earlier, we haven't had any changes to this over the past 4 years or so, except for the recent request to add pedestrians, pedestrian-involved accidents, and to filter also by contributing factors down the bottom. So those were the two changes. How many people aren't using this recording tool? Because you have something else, or just because you didn't know about it? Doesn't work with SQL. Doesn't work with SQL, okay. So if we remedy that, will that help you, or you already have another tool? Okay. You know, some agencies have, you know, large reporting structures already set up, so it doesn't apply to them. Like Onondaga County's already doing their own stuff. So again, if you take a look at this, any changes or any additional features that you want, let us know. This is pretty easy to add reports and things like that. And we'll look about getting it to work with SQL Server and Oracle. Right. Yes?
Someone else ago I spoke to you about the intersections. No matter, it doesn't matter. You have to put it in both ways to get.
Oh, that's a good question. We did change that as well, and I forgot that. On the intersection for the accident report, it used to be looking at your primary intersection. So if you said the intersection of Main and Elm, and you just said, you know, Main, but the diagram tool picked it up as Elm first, or the location tool picked it up as Elm, you wouldn't get that hit. So we are now looking at both cross streets for that. So that does address that issue. I forgot about that. And later on, we'll actually see another fix to the new location tool, where previously if you selected an intersection, it would automatically come up on the map as Main and Elm, even though the accident may have occurred on Elm, not on Main. So you can actually pick the primary street that it occurred on, so you won't have that issue either. So that's TraCS reporting. Any questions on that? Checking the clock. We're at 1:30, so we're a full half hour ahead of schedule. Just flying through stuff. Just because we're ahead of schedule doesn't mean anybody gets to go home early. So that being said, we're going to run into some of the TraCS 10 pieces just a little bit earlier, so we'll spend more time on that. Is Carol here in the corner? We're going to bring Carol Thomas, one of our developers, up to go through. If you haven't seen it before, one of the first presentations of TraCS 10. Also are installing, and they're getting the presentations up and running.
Get the TraCS
Local support, Pat Chauvin here. Pat covers the area north of Albany and west. So he's got quite a large territory, but it's actually from a number of police agencies' perspective, it's a lot less populated, less densely populated than Deb's area. Deb Lopez-Rouse over in the corner there, if you haven't met her before. She is primarily south of Albany and Long Island. So those are your support reps by geographic area. So again, if you need anything, they have business cards here today, I hope. If not, TraCS support at...
I say Mike Rubenstein on them.
TraCS support at troopers.ny.gov is a way to get a hold of either one of them. Thanks, Pat.
I take it you want me to spread this out a little longer, or are you going to stop me for a break? Are you going to stop me for your break and then we'll come back to it?
Yeah, we'll stop at a break around 2 because people want a coffee and stuff like that. So we'll go like a half hour and then if we stop again, we're okay.
Yep.
Just find the break point.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. What I'm going to basically try to show you today is the things you must know in order to work in 10. So these are the minimum things that you have to know in order to run TraCS 10. So first of all, TraCS is a new user interface, so it's got a new look and feel. All the forms are basically the same. I do know you guys are getting some new forms, but they're all basically the same and they work the same as they always have. We've got some additional functionality that's been added to the validation process. We'll get into that in a little bit later. And they say that the new user interface is more intuitive and user-friendly. Once you get used to it, I think you will find that is true. When you first look at it, it's going to probably feel a little bit more intimidating, but you should get used to it pretty quick. TraCS has 4 basic main components. It has the Forms Manager, which was formerly known as your Contact Manager. It has a Forms Viewer, which is where you do your data entry and editing of your forms. It is based on a contact, and we also have our external information, formerly known as common information. So a contact. Like I said, TraCS is designed around the concept of a contact, which is defined as an incident for which an officer is called to perform an official act, whether it be an accident, writing a citation, anything along that lines. That is considered one contact. And contacts can have multiple scenarios, involve multiple forms, but it's only one contact per incident. So external information, which is formerly known as your common information, basically enables the users to enter data once and use it multiple times. And your types are individual, vehicle, carrier, offense, and location. The external information can be used on any form within a contact. Once you close the contact, you're closing the external information. Now, one of the nice things about TraCS 10 is that when you reopen a closed contact, the external information will be available for you to use, but it's no longer, what?
We're having a problem with the webinar, so we're just going to hold it while we fix that. So sorry to interrupt.
That's fine.
The break stuff's not here yet, so we can't really send you out there, but we are getting emails that the webcast isn't going. That little orange. It says on air. That's what I don't get. Audience view 100%.
We only have one attendee. It's you. It's you.